What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ravi Wadan, and in today's video, I want to talk about the zero down Tesla Model 3 lease, specifically the Tesla Model 3 Premium rear-wheel drive. There's a $0 down lease offer on this car right now, and you get one free upgrade. You can choose the white interior, you can choose the upgraded wheels, or you can do an upgraded paint color. And it's a $0 down lease deal. Now, if you're in the market for a Tesla Model 3, I think you'll get a lot of value from this video. And just to make a long story short, I think leasing this particular vehicle makes a lot of financial sense. And I'll explain why over the course of this video. So in the first part of this video, what we'll do is we'll head over to the Tesla website and we'll talk about the $0 lease deal. We'll talk about the free upgrade, and we'll kind of structure a lease deal. And I'll give you some tips and tricks on things that you should look out for and things that will save you money. In the second part of this video, what we'll do is run my 1.25% rule of leasing, which is just a value metric to show you why this is a good lease deal in terms of value. Because remember, two cars with the same MSRP can have very different lease programs, and this Tesla Model 3 is a very good lease program and a good lease deal in terms of value. And then in the third part of this video, I'll explain why leasing this car makes much more sense than financing it, just because from an overall perspective, you're going to get depreciation protection, you're going to get gap insurance included, and we'll talk about all that stuff in detail. So if that sounds good to you, please be sure to like this video and please be sure to follow. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into the computer behind me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on the Tesla website. And as you can see, you can lease a Tesla Model 3 for as little as $329. Let's go ahead and click on order now. And that's going to take us to this page, and it says lease from $329 a month, and you can get one free upgrade. So if we click on learn more, you'll see that it says lease from $329. And this is available with $3,000 down. Lease today and customize your Model 3 vehicle with one of the following upgrades. You can get premium paint, you can get the 19-inch Nova wheels, or you can get the white interior. So otherwise, all of these upgrades, they cost money, $1,000, $2,000, but they'll add them for free. So let's go ahead and on the right-hand side, let's go ahead and click on lease. And as you can see, it says premium rear-wheel drive for $329. Now, what I'm going to do is update this to $0 down. We're going to keep the standard stealth gray paint. Actually, let's go ahead and upgrade the paint. So normally the red paint is an additional $2,000, but if you keep a look here where it says $418 a month here in the bottom right-hand corner of the page, if I click on the red paint, the monthly payment's not going to change. It stays at $418 a month. So that would be my free upgrade, right? And if we clicked on the 19-inch wheels, you'll see that the monthly payment increases to $439 a month. So I'm just going to go with the red paint. I like the red paint. Let's just go ahead and structure the deal from there. So what we're going to do is click on Edit Leasing. And from right here, what I really like about this Tesla, configurator is that it updates in real time. So as you can see here, it's currently a 36-month lease. If we go to 24 months, the payment goes to $543. That tells me the 24-month program is not as good as the 36-month program. You'll see that it comes standard with 10,000 miles. If you know you're going to drive more than 10,000 miles, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to get a 12 or a 15,000 mile a year lease, because you're going to end up paying more in penalty if you don't do that. What you'll see here, if we scroll down, there's a 25-cent per mile penalty for every mile that you drive over your contracted mileage. So if you know you drive 12 or 15, just do a 12 or 15,000 mile a year lease up front. I'm going to leave this at 12,000 miles, and you'll see that the due at delivery is $1,136. You're probably wondering why it's not $0, and that's because if you click on view breakdown, you'll see that the down payment is $0, but you do have to pay for the first month's payment, which is $441, and then you also have to pay for the acquisition fee. So let's go ahead and go back. And one thing I like to do is include taxes and fees, and this gives you a much more accurate picture based on your zip code. As you can see here, I am in Seattle, Washington, and now my due at delivery has increased to $26.55 because this includes all taxes, all fees, because you have to pay taxes on rebates, and the monthly payment goes to $496 a month, which includes sales tax, right? Now, if we scroll down, you're going to see that if you're military, first responder, healthcare, teacher, or student, you're going to get an additional $500. I'm not, so I'm not gonna verify that at all. And we already talked about the 25-cent per mile excess mileage penalty. So be sure to get the 12 or 15,000 mile a year lease up front. And you'll also see that the monthly lease payment already includes the $6,500 Tesla lease credit. So a lot of people think that, this stacks, but no, these numbers that you see up here already include that $6,500 credit. And then one thing that I like about Tesla now is that you do have the option to purchase this vehicle at the end of the lease term. As you can see here, how I have it structured at 36 months, 12,000 miles a year. You can buy this Tesla at 25,889, and this actually dynamically changes. So if I up this to 15,000 miles a year, you'll see that the residual value drops to $25,012. So let's go ahead and switch this back to 12,000 miles, and now let's actually bust out the calculator and let's run my 1.25% rule of leasing on this Tesla. So with my 1.25% rule of leasing, what you want to do is take your total due at signing amount, inclusive of all taxes and fees, which is $2,655, and then I'm going to subtract the first month's of the monthly payment of $496 from this amount. And this is because this due at signing amount includes the first month's payment. So that gives us $2,159. Now what I'll do is I'll divide this by 36 since it's a 36-month lease. And that divides breaks our due at signing amount into 36 equal parts, and you get $59.97. And then I'll add $496 back to this amount, and that gives us an effective monthly payment of $555 a month. So if you multiply this $555 by 36, that would be the total cost of the lease over 36 months, right? That would be the total cost of the lease. Now what I'm going to do is divide this by this vehicle's MSRP. So if we click on the cash price, you'll see the MSRP is $44,490. $44,490 including taxes and fees is $51,741. I don't like to divide it with the MSRP including taxes. I like to take a more conservative approach. So I'm going to divide this number by $44,490. And when I do that, as you can see, I get 1.25%. So let's go ahead and multiply this by 100 to make it a percentage. You get 1.24 or 1.25%. Now, ladies and gentlemen, anytime you run this calculation and you get a number over 1.5%, so anything over 1.5%, typically the savings of leasing a car are negated when you're over 1.5%. Now, if it's a car that depreciates rapidly, I would still recommend leasing in some cases if you're at 1.6 or 1.7%, but generally over 1.5% is a vehicle that you should finance and not lease. If you're under 1.5%, that's what I consider a good lease deal in terms of value and a vehicle that you should definitely lease. Under 1.25% is what I consider a great lease deal in terms of value and a vehicle that you should most definitely lease. And anytime you're under 1%, that's an amazing lease deal, or what I call an amazing lease deal in terms of value and a vehicle that you should definitely lease, and extremely rare, right? We saw these sub 1% lease deals. We saw a lot of them maybe 7-8 years ago. And we saw them a lot over the past couple of years with EVs, with the $7,500 EV tax credit. But under 1% is what I consider extremely rare and definitely a vehicle that you should lease. But even this Tesla Model 3 at 1.25% is extremely competitive and definitely a vehicle that you should lease. And let's talk about that now. And let's talk about how much money you save by leasing and why you should lease outside of just the cost savings as well. So if we go back and click on lease, and now I'm just going to run, I want to compare apples to apples, so leasing to financing. So if I click on finance at 72 months at the 2.99% APR with $5,611 down, your monthly payment's going to be $723. So let's go ahead and change the lease to the same due at signing, $5611. And this is just to do an apples to apples comparison. And your monthly payment's $405, right? Compared to $723. So $723 minus $405 is a substantial monthly savings. So let's go $723 minus $405. You're saving $318 a month by leasing this Tesla Model 3. And if you multiply that by 36, You're saving $11,448 a month by leasing this Tesla Model 3 compared to financing it. And ladies and gentlemen, not only with leasing are you going to put less money down and have a much lower monthly payment, which is going to result in a much lower total out-of-pocket cost over 36 months, but leasing also protects you from depreciation, right? From unknown depreciation. Because what happens is a lot of people will finance or buy this car, and then 3 or 4 years down the road, they go to trade it in or sell it, and they have negative equity, right? And that means that negative equity essentially means that your car loan, your outstanding balance on your car loan is more than what the vehicle is worth. So a lot of people end up with $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 or more of negative equity, and that's something that you have to be responsible for, right? And with leasing, you don't have to worry about negative equity at the end of 36 months. It doesn't matter what the vehicle is worth. You can just turn it back in, walk away. That negative equity is not your responsibility, right? The second reason you want to lease is because the lease actually includes gap insurance. Now, since this vehicle depreciates at a rapid rate, you're going to have to buy gap insurance if you finance this car, right? Unless you're paying cash or putting maybe 50% down, you don't need to buy gap insurance, but the lease actually includes gap insurance. So you're putting less money down, you have a lower monthly payment, and you get gap insurance, and then you get diminished value protection as well with a lease. So that's the third major point that I want to make. And the diminished value protection essentially means that, let's say I end up leasing this Tesla, and 6 months from now, I get into a fender bender, right? It's a repairable event. I get the car properly repaired, but what happens is now I have a accident on my vehicle history report, and with leasing it, I can just still, at the end of 36 months, just turn in that vehicle, and that diminished value from that accident is not my responsibility. Meanwhile, if you finance it or if you paid cash, that diminished value can be your responsibility. So with leasing, you're protected from that as well. And ladies and gentlemen, I always preach this to everybody that's hesitant about leasing. If you want to keep this car long-term, for any reason at all, as you saw in the beginning of the video, in the first part of this video, there is a buyout option. You have a purchase option. So for whatever reason, if you want to buy this car at the end of the term, you have that option. But even if you're doing a lease to buy, so even if you want to keep this car long term, I would just do a lease to buy. And lease to buy means you essentially lease it for the 36 months, or you can lease it for 30 months and you just buy it, and then you can keep it for as long as you want. That still makes more financial sense than buying it right from the get-go or right from inception. So I hope this video helps you guys with your Tesla Model 3 buying decision. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys want to get pre-negotiated lease deals on cars outside of Teslas, be sure to check out DriveMatch.com. It's a company that I co-founded where you can get pre-negotiated lease deals, and the buying experience is very similar to Tesla. You just go to DriveMatch. It's fully transparent pricing, and we will deliver the car directly to your house as long as it's eligible to do so. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Financial knowledge is power. Please like and follow for more.